everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Irish Grinstead, singer and member of the R&B girl group 702, has died. She was 43. The vocalist died Saturday evening, according to an Instagram post from her sister and fellow group member Lemisha Grinstead. No cause of death was given, but 702 had announced in December that Irish Grinstead would be taking a leave of absence from performing due to serious medical issues. The other two members of 702, Lemisha Grinstead and Camila Williams, mourned the loss of their beloved bandmate on social media. "She has had a long battle and she is finally at peace," Lemisha Grinstead wrote. "That girl was as bright as the stars. She was not only beautiful on the outside, but also within. Sharing the stage with her was a joy I will cherish for the rest of my life. We, the family, ask for prayers and respect for our privacy as we grieve an outstanding loss to our family." A devastated and heartbroken Williams reacted to the news Saturday. "It's hard to acknowledge this is even happening. You and I have known each other since we were kids, and we've laughed, cried, celebrated, and everything in between. I still love you, my forever lil sis." Williams' tribute also mentioned Irish Grinstead's late twin sister, Orish Grinstead, who died from kidney failure in 2008 after a battle with cancer, according to Rolling Stone. She was 27. "I know you're feeling better now and hugging your twin Orish, which makes me smile," Williams said. "'Cause I know how much you missed her." In the 1990s and early 2000s, Irish Grinstead and 702 were best known for songs such as Get It Together, Fllow, and Where My Girl's At. The trio's debut album, No Doubt, came out in 1996, followed by two more records in 1999 and 2003. During its initial rise to fame, the group collaborated with the likes of Missy Elliott and the Neptunes. 702, which is the area code of the musician's hometown, Las Vegas, disbanded in the mid-2000s per Rolling Stone, but had reunited to perform at various events in recent years. Nigerian artist Ilerioluwa Oladimiji Aloba, aka Mohbad, is dead. The former Malian record signee reportedly died on Tuesday at the age of 27. Music executive Ovi shared the sad news on his X page #OVO on Tuesday evening. "Confirmed. Mohbad is dead. Sad, sad day," he tweeted. "Damn. Mohbad, sick?" In another tweet, Olamide posted, "This life, sick." An old video of Bellish murder saying Mohbad was battling mental health issues recently resurfaced online minutes after the reported death of the singer. Some of the popular songs of the singer include KPK, Peace, Komajason, Pariwo, and many more. Information on the cause of his death and where he died as of the time of filling this report was sketchy. Ron Cephas Jones, the Emmy-winning actor who starred as the beloved William Hill on This Is Us, has died. He was 66. Beloved and award-winning actor Ron Cephas Jones has passed away at the age of 66 due to a long-standing pulmonary issue. A rep for Jones told People magazine in a statement confirming his death. Throughout the course of his career, his warmth, beauty, generosity, kindness, and heart were felt by anyone who had the good fortune of knowing him, the statement read. He began his career at the New Yorker Poets Cafe, and his love for the stage was present throughout his entire career, including his recent Tony-nominated and Drama Desk Award-winning performance for his role in Clyde's on Broadway. Ron's inner beauty and soul was evident to the huge audience from his multi-Emmy award-winning performance on This Is Us, the statement continued. He is survived by his daughter Jasmine Cephas Jones. Though Jones had a long career in television and film, appearing in hits including Mr. Robot, Dog Days, Luke Cage, Dolomite, Is My Name, Law and Order, Organized Crime, and more, the actor was best known for his recurring role on This Is Us. He starred as the biological father of Randall Pearson, Sterling K. Brown, for which he won Emmys in 2018 and 2020. The late actor's character was a recovering drug addict and music artist who battled and succumbed to stomach cancer. Before his death, Jones was open about his health struggles, revealing in 2021 that he privately battled chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and received a double lung transplant. At the time, Jones said it was his desire to continue acting that kept him going. "The idea of not performing again seemed worse to me than death," he told the New York Times. His daughter, Jasmine Cephas Jones, is also an Emmy-winning actress. In 2020, the two become the first father-daughter duo to win Emmys in the same year. The label moved into Charlie Chaplin's former film studio lot in Hollywood. A&M later signed another huge soft pop act, The Carpenters, and through deals with other labels, put out records by Cat Stevens, who now goes by the name Yusuf Islam, and Carole King, including her blockbuster 1971 LP, Tapestry. In 1976, A&M released Mr. Frampton's double live album, Frampton Comes Alive, which became one of the defining rock hits of the decade, eventually going 8 times platinum. In the 1980s, A&M signed Miss Jackson, whose album Control, 1986, went to No. 1 and established her as a major talent. After selling A&M, Mr. Moss and Mr. Alpert briefly ran another label, Almo Sounds, whose artists included Gillian Welch and Garbage. The founders were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as non-performers in 2006. Mr. Moss's survivors include his wife, Tina Moss, 2 sons, Ron and Harrison, 2 daughters, Jennifer and Daniela, and 5 grandchildren. In his later years, Mr. Moss had notable success owning racehorses. One, Giacomo, named after one of Sting's sons, won the Kentucky Derby in 2005 at Extraordinary Hearts. Another racehorse, Zenyatta, was named after one of the Police's albums, Zenyatta Mondata, 1980. Mr. Moss was active in local philanthropy. In 2020, he and his wife donated $25 million to the Music Center, a performing arts complex in downtown Los Angeles that includes the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, the Ahmanson Theater, Walt Disney Concert Hall, and other spaces. But Mr. Moss said that he was at his happiest making records with Mr. Alpert. "It is the best feeling in the world," he told The Times. "I'd turn to Herbie and say, man, what in the world did we do to deserve this?" William Friedkin, the American director behind The Exorcist, died on Monday. He was 87. Friedkin passed away in Los Angeles after suffering unspecified health issues in recent years. He had been working until a few weeks ago, but had been in declining health, said former Hollywood Reporter, executive editor Stephen Galloway. The director's son, Cedric Friedkin, confirmed to the Associated Press that he died after a long illness. "He was role model to me and to my brother Jack," his son said. "He was a massive inspiration." An early career Oscar winner. When he was just in his 30s, Friedkin burst onto the scene in 1971 with gritty cop drama, The French Connection, for which he won an Oscar for Best Director. He followed that with iconic horror film and box office hit The Exorcist in 1973, which follows a 12-year-old girl possessed by the devil. The film, which attracted controversy for its shocking scenes, won 2 Oscars and spawned 4 sequels based on the same novel, but without Friedkin's participation. One of the leading directors of the New Hollywood movement, Friedkin would continue directing well into his 80s, but he was never able to match the success of his early career. "My films have always been a study of human behavior at its extremes," Friedkin told interviewer Tom Huddleston in 2012. "They're not aimed at young people, they're aimed at adults. Is there a line I wouldn't cross?" Who with the trumpeter Herb Alpert founded A&M Records, which at its peak from the 1960s to the 80s was an independent powerhouse behind hits by The Carpenters, The Police, Janet Jackson, Peter Frampton, and Mr. Alpert's group, the Tijuana Brass, among many others, has died at his home in the Bel Air neighborhood of Los Angeles. He was 88. His family announced the death in a statement on Wednesday. Over their more than 30 years with A&M, Mr. Moss and Mr. Alpert developed an eclectic roster. Cat Stevens, Carole King, Supertramp, and the grunge band Soundgarden all released music there and established the label's reputation for being supportive of artists and treating them fairly. Sting, who signed to A&M with the Police in 1978 and has remained associated with the label throughout his career, said in an interview on Thursday that those values radiated directly from Mr. Moss and Mr. Alpert. They were gentlemen, he said. I think their extraordinary success was really predicated on those very human qualities, not being ruthless businessmen or kill or be killed people. They were artist-friendly. Built from humble beginnings in Mr. Alpert's garage, A&M, its name was taken from the initials of its founders' last names, became a major force in pop music, and eventually earned its founders a huge payday. In 1989, they sold A&M's recorded music business to Polygram for a reported $500 million, about $1.2 billion in today's money, though Mr. Moss and Mr. Alpert continued to manage the label until 1993. In 2000, they sold Rondo, their music publishing catalog, to Universal Music for an estimated $400 million. Mr. Alpert set the tone for how the label interacted with musicians after what he said in an interview on Thursday were his own unhappy experiences early in his career with big labels that had treated him like a number. That approach also gave some negotiating leverage to A&M, which in its early days lacked the financial resources of its corporate competitors in pursuing new acts. Mr. Moss, who began his career promoting pop and doo-wop records to radio stations, ran the business side of A&M with its longtime president, Jill Friesen, who died in 2012. But he also insisted on fair dealings with artists. You can't force people to do a certain kind of music, Mr. Moss said in an interview with the New York Times in 2010. They make their best music when they are doing what they want to do, not what we want them to do. Early on, A&M signed the country singer Waylon Jennings, who cut a handful of singles but disagreed about his career trajectory with Mr. Alpert, who favored pop material. When Mr. Jennings got an offer from RCA Victor's Nashville office, A&M agreed to release him from his deal. I looked at Jerry and said, "This guy is going to be a big artist." He said, "I know," Mr. Alpert recalled. At that point, I realized we could be a big success with that attitude. We let Waylon out of the contract. He went on to a great career, and we remained friends with him. Jerome Sheldon Moss was born in the Bronx on May 8, 1935, to Irving and Rose Moss. His father was a department store salesman, his mother a homemaker. Mr. Moss graduated from Brooklyn College in 1957. While waiting tables at a resort, he met Marvin Kane, one of the founders of Coed Records, who offered him a job pitching records to radio stations for $75 a week. His first big success was the doo-wop ballad 16 Candles by the Crests, which reached No. 2 on the Billboard Pop Singles chart in late 1958. Mr. Moss moved to Los Angeles intending to enter the television business, but instead he soon set himself up again as a radio promoter. It was there that he met Mr. Alpert, who had worked as a songwriter and was attempting to establish himself as a vocalist under the name Dor Alpert. In 1962, the two young men went into business together, investing $100 apiece. They released Tell It to the Birds, a single credited to Dor Alpert, on a label they called Carnival. After learning that another record company was already using that name, they settled on A&M for their next release. The Lonely Bull, a trumpet-led instrumental with atmospheric sounds recorded at a bullfighting ring in Mexico. They borrowed $35,000 to press the single, which went to No. 6, and immediately put A&M on the map. By 1966, A&M was as successful as any label in pop music. That year, Mr. Alpert and the Tijuana Brass outsold the Beatles and had 4 albums in the top 10 at the same time. The group dominated the easy-listening market of the era with hits like A Taste of Honey and Spanish Flea. Mr. Alpert himself had a No. 1 vocal hit in 1968 with This Guy's in Love with You. A&M also signed the Brazilian pianist and bandleader Sergio Mendes and his band Brazil 66, which toured with Mr. Alpert.